Hello everyone, this is Zishan. I go by my middle name. You'll see Muhammad there, but you can call me Zishan. So this is the first lecture. Welcome to the class. It's gonna be a quick one. It's only 12 weeks, so there's a lot to cover. So without any further ado, I'll jump into it. This lecture one is from the first chapter. Okay. So this is an introductory lecture here, so which talks about C and some features of C++. I mean, primarily I'll be talking about C++. So C language, for those of you that might have taken a course and are interested in C, it was implemented in 1972, quite a while back. Like I said, there's a different class that I teach online, which focuses just on C, but this class is for C++. And then there was a standard called ANSI C that they went with. And C was pretty famous, and it's still used up till this day. Uh, 40, almost 50 years ago, it was developed and implemented, and it's still being used up till this day in some shape or form. You'll find it used all over. Once you start working out in the industry, or if you work in the industry already, you'll know that it was used. So, the ANSI, as I refer to it, it's the American National Standards Institute. It cooperated with the International Organization for Standardization to standardize C. So C became the standard way back when. And then there's also C11, which is the latest ANSI standard for C programming, but we're not going to get much into C11. Um, If you're interested, you can read about it, but this class is primarily about C++. So as some of you may know, if not, then this is something interesting to know that C++ is just an extension of C. Okay, so it's built on top of C. So everything that C has, C++ also has, plus more. So if you want to think of it as um, how else you want to anything you can do in C, you can do in C++ plus something more. And as we get more into C++, you will realize the benefits of C++. I mean, I personally, the first language that I studied was C++, so I always have a liking for this, and it's used in the industry very widely. I mean, I know in ultrasound software, C++ is used. They use the libraries. And in talking about libraries, what C++ really has are the vast number of libraries that are available for you. I'm not gonna dig into libraries right away, but the way we're gonna go about this is first you learn about the language, the basics, the logic, the semantics, the constant, the integers, the floats, etc. And then we go a little bit more deeper. Actually, towards the end is when you'll get to see the libraries. And once we're talking about the libraries of C++, you will really appreciate what C++ has to offer. The vector library is one that I still use up till this day. I mean, it's been over 15 years since I studied C++, but vector library is still one that I remember. It's such an important one. Not to say others aren't important, but that's one of the ones. And you will see the true power of C++ once we get into libraries. Another thing to keep in mind is as we go and discuss about libraries and talk more about libraries, this is where the true power of a language comes into play. Once you cover the basics, you know how to write a code write pieces of code and logic in a programming language, then we go into its libraries, and this is where it really helps. Um, you'll see the true power of the language. Um, One of the things that without talking too much about the libraries, is as you study other programming languages, so what's going to happen is if this is your first language, then then this is the base that you're going to use um, for all other languages to come. Um, and any other language you go into, you will see, and you will notice it very clearly that um, what should I say, the libraries are very much handy, and you'll use the library. You will use its methods because those are already made available for you. Like I said, there's so much to learn about libraries and its use, but it's going to come to the very end. So hold your horses. I'm very excited about the libraries, but I'm not going to get into it tomorrow, the day after. It's probably going to be towards the end of um, the end of the session, the end of the semester. Well, you'll study about the libraries, and I'll go on and on. Okay. Um, C++ is just one language amongst so many others. Um, it's worth mentioning about these languages. I don't know if you know about them. You probably know about C Sharp. I don't know about the others. Fortran, Pascal, COBOL. I know the company that I work for. Um, Up until this day, they still have up until this day they have COBOL as in some of their programs. Ada, I've never used that. Basic, I've used it. I I should correct myself. C++ was the first language in college, but Basic was really how I was introduced to programs and logic. Uh, if I remember correctly, BASIC stands for Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code. It's really primitive. If you guys ever have a chance and you're interested in it, you can go look at it. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so continuing on about the attributes and data members. So going back to the example of a car, right? A car's attribute could be its color. Its color is red. Its attribute could be it has a gas tank. Now the data members would be so the car knows it would know how many gallons it has in the tank, right? So a data member would be return the gallons that can fit in the car, or return the color of the car. Mm, Encapsulation. This is the hiding of information from another object. So you have a car and then you have a TV. On the outside, you can see what they look like, but or should I say this? Visually, you can see both of them, but the car doesn't know anything about the internal workings of the TV and vice versa. So that's the way how a car hides its information. Or think another good example might be the bank teller, right? It's accessible to the public, but it only gives information if you go and see your account. So it has the capability to share information, but only for the account holders. So it has a way of hiding information, and this encapsulation is a very powerful and an important concept that we'll dig more into in the later chapters. Um, and encapsulation um, comes into play when we're talking about um, object-oriented classes, and also inheritance comes along with it. Inheritance is, just as the word says, inherit, right? You inherit from one class to the other. So if you have a base class and then you have a derived class, the derived class has what the base class has in it. So it's a extension of the base class, plus it can have some more items in it. Object oriented, I kind of hinted at this, but you'll learn much more in the later chapters. Now, a lot of these concepts are going to be abstract, so just take them for what it's worth at the face value, and this will be so clear that by the time you're done with the course, what's a function, what's a member function, what's a class, how to instantiate a class, inheritance, types of inheritance, using of classes, etc. Would almost be second nature to you. So right now, like I said, these concepts are making a lot of sense to you, but just keep them at the back of your mind. And towards the end, it'll be a piece of cake for you. So that was it for the first chapter. Now, what I want you to do is go to, and I'll post a link in the announcement section of it as well. There's another video by Jason James, who's another instructor. He will really dig deep into setting up your terminal. Terminal is just a black box, black in your case you'll download a software on your computer to be able to write C++ program and be able to submit them. So that's really important. So the next session is going to be all about setting up your computer so that you can write program and then submit them. And like I said, the link for that is going to be in the announcement session. So hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I don't expect you to know all of this right away. Some things don't make sense. It's just words here and there. But this is just introductory um, session, right? It's the first chapter, um, and more to come. So, see you guys next time.